Today, yes, is very much about strategy. There's a fair bit in this thing called strategy, but we bring it back down to its essence. It's a fundamental belief of mine that the best way to predict the future is to invent it. Now, I love this image here because it's a windscreen and a rear vision mirror. And good strategy comes because you have the ability to look in the rear vision mirror and what can we learn from the past? What can we learn from last week, last month? And then importantly, invest most of our time looking through the windscreen of our future. So we put this into perspective. It's a great metaphor for your team as well in your coaching sessions to say, yes, let's do some reflection. That's looking in the rear vision mirror. Yet let's invest most of our time looking at your future. Where are you heading and what you're out to achieve? The best way to predict the future is to invent it. And if we put that into perspective, and just to clarify this metaphor even more, if the windscreen was the size of the rear vision mirror, in other words, rather than looking through the windscreen, all we're doing is seeing a mirror at the back, and our windscreen was only the size of the of that little window. Let me tell you guys, we're going to have a major issue. So we've got this huge reflection looking into the back, and we've just got this little window, the size of the mirror that we're looking into the future. It's the wrong strategy. We want to create this brightness of the future for the team, see this big possibility as to where we're heading. And yes, let's have a look occasionally in the rear vision mirror. What can we learn from this to be able to move forward? Simple concept, but it's super, super important. So you've got someone who says, remember the good old days, remember the good old days, remember the good old days. Maybe they're living too much in the rear vision mirror and we need to help them understand what that future possibility looks like. So 3 words I'd love you to note down as we get into this conversation around strategy, and that is responsive, adaptable, and flexible. What that means is if you've gone down the wrong road, boom, let's turn back. Let's change directions. I've opened an office here. No, I've got to keep that office open. Why do you need to keep that office open? If it's the wrong road to be down, it's okay for you to close that office, change the strategy, and modify it. So I'd love this to be this mode of how dynamic can your strategy be to make sure you can capitalize on this and put this into an effective mode of building that. The one I want to really drill into is this one here. Current reality, the reason why I asked you to do the SWOT, because it's such an important prep piece for strategy. It allows us to get this reality check on what are our strengths, where are our weaknesses, what are the opportunities for us to advance, and what are the threats we need to be aware of. So simply, it's maximize the strengths, it's minimize the weaknesses, it's take advantage of the opportunities, and how do we eliminate or at least reduce the impact of a potential threat. And this energy from the current reality tends to be a bit of a fix-it energy. How do I fix these things? Or at least how do I take advantage of this current reality? On the flip side of it, the desired reality is where are you heading? Now, I love a 3-year view. Where do you want to be in 3 years' time? So in 3 years' time, we pop the champagne. What does the business look like? What are some of the key things that are happening? Some of these might be qualitative, some of these might be quantitative. So some might be specific numbers, the quantitative kind of stuff. We will sell this many properties, we'll have this many in the team, we'll have this many offices, we'll have this many properties under management, we'll have this additional revenue coming in from ancillary services and so on. That's sort of the quantitative. The qualitative is what's our culture like, what's our reputation in the marketplace, how are we known for that? And what's interesting is what will pull people into their future and have them not just turning up but turned on is the compellingness of this future. And this is what you're building, what you're creating with it. Now, important point, what will get in the way of it is you stand up and say, here's where we're heading, guys. It's going to be this amazing future. And we may not share the 3 year, we might come back to the 1 year, but now the 1 year is a chunk of the 3 year. We're not just going out what's next month and next month. We're going 3 years back to 1 year, back to our 90-day race. What I will say, though, is sometimes it is hard for people to hear that big picture if the photocopy is not working, if our sales meeting sucks, if our the tech isn't doing it, if I can't log on to the system, if it's difficult for me to put a listing into the system, or that it's there's a sort of internal sales prevention that's getting in the way of a new management or a new listing coming on board. So I just want to highlight that for you guys, that yes, we're going to talk about the strategy, where we're heading. Importantly, a big part of strategy is what do we need to fix, and utilizing the SWOT as your source with that. And based on that source, we can come back to what are the quick wins, what are the key projects, anything we need to investigate, any cleanups we need to do, and any themes, because this is such a chunky component of our business. Let's have a theme for next quarter. Let's have a theme between now and the end of this year. Let's have a theme as we launch into next year that's going to allow us to be as effective as we possibly can be. So I just wanted to come back to that as a key point for us to have a look at. Now, a business doesn't grow. Let me just go to a fresh sheet for you. Doesn't grow in a straight line. And I think we'd all love a business to grow in a straight line, but the reality check, it doesn't. So if this is time and this is results, the performance of the business, there's time, we naturally think that in terms of growth, we've got a business that's doing this. Doesn't happen, right? So please don't go personal on me. And we did cover two key numbers last year. If a business grows 7% per year, you'll 2x in 12 months. If your business grows at 27% per year, it will 2x in 3 years. So I like those two because they're just fun benchmarks to start playing with. And that might be too slow or too fast for you. This is about you wanting to know what you want to do. So simple example in this, in the Campbell's soup business, their baked beans business, so Campbell overall, but their baked beans business, they want to grow at double what the market growth is. So if baked beans market grows overall worldwide by 10%, they want to grow their part of the business by 20%. So it's a really simple benchmark that they have around growth. What we want to do is have a look at this. We're going to take a little chunk of this and see what's actually happening. If we blow this up to a much bigger sort of size, what we actually see happening here is it looks more so like this. So there's these sort of sideways S's that are occurring, and each one of these is a reinvent opportunity. It's how we reinvent it, how we go to the next level. So if we don't reinvent, you look at it, we head in a southerly direction. If we sort of just maintain, we're here, but if we reinvent, we can actually capitalize on this. What I call this one extinction. We're heading towards extinction. This one is surviving, and this one is thriving. So the goal for you is the internal rate of change in your business needs to be ahead of the external rate of change. So many times when I'm working with a team, I'm thinking, not what do the team need now, I'm thinking also what does the team need next. So we head into the next market, we head into the next thing, and we're able to capitalize on that next, as opposed to waiting for the next and getting to this. How can we have our team ready, willing, and able to capitalize on that and win in that market conditions? And the ultimate game plan, hand on heart, can you all put your hand on heart? I can't see you, but we'll just do this anyway. Hand on heart, I'm about to send the troops out to battle. They're race fit, they're game ready, they're going to bring back the gold. Because in the real estate profession, bringing back the silver medal from a listing appointment is not a good look. We want to win the gold medal. Now, the only exception to that is if you've got an owner who is truly unrealistic, where in a set of market dynamics at some point in time where it's better to get that listing second time around. I'm just throwing that out there as an opportunity. But what we want to do is have the team skilled, ready to capitalize on this market, and not just winning the business, but also being able to deliver the result that they promised and committed to the client. So we don't reinvent, we're heading to extinction. We attempt just to keep pace with it, we will survive, or we play the ahead of the change game. We now move into this thriving mode. So that lesson from Charles Darwin, not the strongest or the most intelligent, but the most adaptable, responsive, and flexible with this. And there's a law in physics, it's called law of requisite variety. And a lot of the time we think the most rigid thing will lead the system. In physics, it's actually the most flexible component that leads the system. So it's how do you build into this strategy a level of flexibility that we can say, hey, at the end of this month, we've done a review of where we're at. This is not working. Let's take that off the picture and let's add something else on. And we are going to talk specifically about an implementation program and how do you implement this where you get great traction. It's an incredibly important part. It's no point having a great strategy without great traction of that particular strategy. But, you heard from me, less things better will always outperform a lot of things poorly. So in terms of the growth model, if we slow this down, we're going through this. It's not just you, it's what happens in every single business. The question is, do we see these coming? And each of these little points here, each of these are reinvention opportunities. So how do we capitalize on that reinvention to be able to put this energy into place? Are we behind the 8 ball? Are we with the 8 ball? Or are we ahead of the 8 ball? The goal is to be ahead of it and see things happening. That means we've got to help you, and we're going to help you turn the noise down so you can turn the focus up. And noise means, there's just so much noise happening. You don't have time or a headspace to look at these kind of things. We've got to turn the noise down to turn the focus up.